Good afternoon. It's day 4 of our New Mexico escape. And we spent most of the day around Roswell, New Mexico. We got up pretty darn early. We were up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and by 8 a.m. we were on our way out. And our first stop was only like a mile away from the Lake Van campground in Dexter, which is the National Fish Hatchery. And this is a federal fish hatchery. There's some up and down about this. The up about it was we were able to get into the facility and we were able to get information on it. The downside, because of the lockdown that's still occurring, we were not able to either get a guided or an unguided tour of the facility. But it's really neat because most fish hatcheries, they're designed and run by the state to raise game fish to be released in the local waters. Not this place. This place is dedicated to protecting and propagating threatened and endangered fish species of the region. Just really kind of neat. Really sorry we weren't able to tour the actual tanks, but hey, the biologist that came out to meet us was quite friendly and really wanted to help us out, but you know, there are restrictions, we understand that, but you know, he helped us understand everything. From there, well, we went rock hunting and we hit like 4 sites, and rock hunting is kind of hit or miss. I mean, sometimes you get a lot and sometimes you don't. 2 of the sites, well, they were frankly pretty much busts. However, the other ones were really good. We found what's known as Pecos diamonds, and you're going to have to look that up on the internet, which are very rare. We were very lucky to find 3 of them, which is 3 more than most people do find. And we found a whole bunch of selenite, and I got this huge piece, and I'm not joking, it's about this. I was able to pry out the rock face, and yes, this is legal to do, and was able to wrap it up, and it's going to be one of my star pieces of my growing rock and mineral collection. From there, it was all, believe it or not, it was already noontime. So we headed back into Roswell and did all the things that we weren't able to do the day before, which was go to the bank, go to the dollar store, get ice, get supplies, and then have lunch. And then after lunch, well, you know Roswell, New Mexico, if you've heard anything, they have a big center for UFO studies and such. And, you know, in the 1940s and 50s, they had a flurry of UFO activity. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it did happen. But that's why Roswell has its own UFO museum and UFO gift shops and all this other stuff. We toured the museum. Wasn't bad. It was not, the price was right, $5. My partner Evelyn loved it. That was, for me, it was okay. From there, we drove south on the U.S. highway, and I'm going to tell you, there's something really neat. If you come into Roswell from the south of 285, the Chamber of Commerce has built this big display of supposedly a crashed UFO and several of the aliens standing around, and some of the locals there trying to get the aliens to help them, and some of the other locals trying to help the aliens. Great photo opportunity. Don't miss it if you come here. From there, well, it was basically a 70-mile slog across the desert to the west, and that put us into Capitan and Lincoln County. And Lincoln County is famous for the cattle wars, cattle rustling, and all sorts of stuff. And there's also Fort Stanton here, and that was interesting too. The town of Lincoln is run by the state, and I say if you're in the area, that's really neat, because the town is literally the park, and the residents live in the buildings. Almost looks like exactly how it was in 1880. We also went up to Capitan, where is the Smokey the Bear Museum, and this is where the whole start of the Smokey the Bear theme started, and the actual bear that was rescued that was originally named Smokey the Bear. By the way, did you know that he lived out the rest of his life in the National Zoo in Washington, D.C.? From there, well, we headed down to Reducio, and wow, tourist trap. I mean, if you've ever heard of Taos or know anything of it, it's just kind of a second home, rich people place with upscale shops and upscale prices and not much history. Well, a lot of history, but it's been basically wiped out by the redevelopment. Anyways, we're a few more miles up from there. We're in the San Isabel National Forest, and we're heading to Cloudcroft. And I'm shooting this video pretty quickly because I got this break in the weather. It's been raining for the last hour, and it looks like it's going to rain here in about another few minutes. So I got to wrap this up and get back in the car, so I don't want to get wet. And we need to get to the to a campground, which we don't know which one it is yet. Anyways, I hope we find a good campground. You all have a good evening.